Hey Hillside. So I'm going to share you a little story. And this is Saturday. We had a game night with the youth, and it was a lot of fun. Super fun. We had video games and board games, card games, whatever, and food. And so we get there. It was long. We started 5 to 8:30. Give it a lot of time. Play a lot of games, right? And in the beginning, I started playing some games with the girls, and it was super fun. We were having a great time. And then about a couple hours in, about the last hour of the night, I thought, oh, people are kind of done eating now, so I'll start putting the food away so it's not out. So I started putting the food away, and then there's dishes, and okay, we kind of have this arrangement, Cole and I, in our house where and he likes to clean dishes. So I'm not, it's not like me making him do this, and I don't really. And in addition, he likes to do things that he knows I don't because he likes to serve me in that way. So this is like our deal, right? I cook and do laundry, whatever. He cleans all the dishes and cleans. He's the cleaner. So I put everything away, and then I put all the dishes in the sink. And so I went over and sat next to him on the couch then. He was playing some video games and just kind of said, not meeting in that moment, but at some point I said, left a bunch of dishes in the sink for you. And he's like, oh, awesome. And, I can't remember if he made a point of saying that would do them or what. But anyway, the night went on, and, we kind of start picking up as we go. I think, oh, okay, they're kind of done with this, so I'll put these away, and then this and that. And then, by the end of the night, by the time we were done, I pretty much had cleaned up most of it, so we didn't have a lot to put away, so we could kind of get them out. But then I went into the kitchen, and then I saw all the dishes were still in there, and then I had a little moment where I got kind of upset, and then he said I was like, oh, you never did the dishes, and I said something about him, and then he's kind of like, well, I said but I was doing whatever, I was playing with them and all this stuff, and I kind of got a little upset about it, and then, we moved on. It wasn't a huge deal. But then when I got home, I went to bed, and all of a sudden I felt this conviction of I was a Martha in the moment. Now, before I get into this, I do think that Martha gets a bad rap, because if you also read the story when Lazarus raised from the dead in John, you see that, it says that Jesus loved Martha and her sister and her brother Lazarus. So she's the one that gets named first. And then she's the one that comes to him in that story. She comes to Jesus first and says, if you'd have been here, my brother would have died. But then she also says, even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. Whereas Mary, it says, stayed home and didn't go to Jesus until word gets to her that he wanted her. Then Mary goes, and she says, Lord, if you'd have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. And she stops there. So I do think, Martha gets focused on in the other story in Luke, where Martha is serving, right? Jesus is there, and Mary's at Jesus' feet. And this is Martha was there too, at their feet. But then at some point, Martha gets up and starts trying to serve people. And that's when she gets mad that Mary was not helping her. And Jesus says, Martha, she says she was distracted with much serving. And that's when Jesus says, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her. So yes, in this instance, Martha was doing, but still, she gets a bad rap, because in the other story it goes the other way. But anyway, in this moment, I was feeling like Martha in this story, where she was serving, right, and distracted with much serving, where she should have been doing something else. And that's not to say it's bad to be serving people, because Jesus served people. But there are also times when that's not that important right now. It'll get done. But what's more important is what's right in front of you, the people, right? In this case, it was Jesus was right in front of her. And in my case, it was, I probably should have just not worried about it, got it done later, and kept playing games with the students and connecting with them and having a relationship. And just focus on that and let the other stuff go, and it would get done. So in that moment, I felt like Martha in this story. And so I ended up texting them later, the next day we were, talking about how fun it was. And I said, yeah, it was super fun. However, I did feel convicted that I was kind of being a Martha towards the end and cleaning up, when I should have kept playing games with you guys and having fun. And I told them, read Luke 10 and the verses for context. And so I apologize for that. But just had me thinking, in what areas of your life might you be being Martha in this story, not in the other story, and when you should be being a Mary, because it's not always bad to be serving, but one of the times that you're putting that over maybe something else that Jesus has right in front of you, but you're distracted with something. Anyway, that was kind of roundabout, but that's what I have for you this week. We'll see you next time, Hillside.